Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts. And today, listeners, I've got a really interesting topic, which I'm sure is going to resonate with a lot of us listening to this audio at the moment. And that is around happy hormones, happy life. And I've got a really superb expert on this topic, Ulrika Karlsson. So welcome, Ulrika.
Thank you so much, Lyn. I'm really happy to be here, and also thank you tuning in and listening today or on the replay.
Thank you. All right. So Ulrika, she's a yoga therapist, author, and spiritual healer. So how did you initially get involved in the topic of, or the subject of, hormones specifically, Ulrika?
Good question. Thank you, Lyn. So here is the thing. I have been really depressed and burned out and suicidal. This was the year of 2008. And I was really in a bad shape then and there. And, it was either that I was going to continue to live the way that I did, and then I would be a long time dead, or I came to the insight that I needed to change. I needed to change myself, and I needed to change my life. So I have written 5 books in 2.5 years. And my first book, which is called 2:47 a.m., The Journey Home to My Heart, there I share my journey when I was this depressed and suicidal and burnt out. And I realized that my hormones were really, excuse my language, but really fucked up. Everything was imbalanced. Everything was out of balance. And I was out of, alignment on so many levels. So at the time, I've been studying yoga and other holistic disciplines for nearly 30 years. And at the time, 2008, a lot of the yoga on the market were very much still in the masculine energy, very much young, very much focused on asanas, positions, right? So if you, like myself, then and there have a lot of pain in body, mind, or soul, then it's too heavy for your body, your energetic system. So I was on a healing journey to find myself, to retrieve and to reclaim bits and pieces of myself, and to get to know who I was. I was a single mom. I was a woman, obviously. I was this and that physiotherapist, but who was I beneath all of these labels? So it was like searching of my soul and to make myself whole and complete, which, by the way, we are all the time. But I didn't feel like that at the time as I was depressed. So I took a lot of courses, programs, therapy, and then I learned that my adrenals were really tired. Adrenals, fatigue. It's also another word for depression or burnout. So it started that I did a lot of reading about it, and then I sort of explored my way, navigating through life and death, this fine balance. And so this yoga form sort of came to me out of my own practice, and part of it came from my own, divine wisdom, and part of it was also channeled. And so I designed it for women who suffered, like myself, from a lot of stress and or hormonal imbalances, right? So that's how I started to do a very more potent and much more powerful yoga for us women, which is hormone yoga, and I call it happy hormones, happy life. Because we know that we women, especially, also men, but women, we move into different phases of life. Many more times we get our period. We want to become pregnant. We become pregnant. We give birth. Our bodies are changing all the time, and then we come into ahead of menopause. We're into menopause and then out. So it's a lot of transitions for a woman. And all these transitions involves, I mean, everything is involved every time, all the time together. Everything is entangled, right? So you can't separate. So the nervous system, the chakra system that we talk about in the yogic perspective, but also the hormones. So I came to realize that working to improve the inner communication between ovaries, adrenals, and thyroid, it's called the OAT axis. And here in the Western world, if we have hormonal imbalances or if we suffer from stress, we just go to the doctor, we take a pill, and we don't cure the root cause. We only sort of ease the symptoms, right? But I really wanted to discover, so what is the root cause? Because there's a lot of women today that also are suffering from thyroid diseases, right? You can have hypo, which is low, or you can have hyper, which is increased. So a lot of these women also are taking a lot of medications, and then they, may get side effects or gain weight, etc. And they might still feel that they're not in balance, obviously, since again, the pills, they don't cure the root cause. So I was very interested in to know how because our bodies are designed to heal ourselves. We're designed this way if we allow it. But we don't do that with our stressful lifestyles and being busy and productive and effective and always on the move. So we don't give ourselves time to heal and to be aligned. So if we could ignite the body's own healing system, how much could we heal? So that's when I started to explore this OAT axis and how to increase the inner communication. And so that's what we do in this kind of yoga form, which is very, very therapeutic.
I love that, because I think these days we're sort of trained, aren't we, to rely on doctors and rely on pharmacists and rely on tablets, thinking it's going to be a quick fix, when usually, like you say, it's just treating the symptom but not the root cause, and then we become reliant, and like you say, we can often suffer a lot of side effects rather than knowing. And I do believe you when you say that we are able to self-heal. I fully buy into that, and I do feel that I am a living, breathing product of being able to self-heal, because I've done it for myself so many times. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. And yes, we are designed like that. It's just that we have forgotten about it because, as you say, we have given our power away. We have given our power away to outer authorities who says, how to think, what to take, to stand in line and to take shots, etc., etc. So we have given the power away, and that means also that we are depending on others to sort us out or to heal us. But true healing is when you heal yourself. And as we are energetic beings from a yogic perspective, we are multidimensional beings. It's just not that I'm a woman, we have, in the yogic perspective, we have the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body. We have the light body, the etherical body. So there's so many things. And we have the essence of the feminine and the masculine, all of us, regardless what kind of body we are in. If we are in a female body or a male body, we still have yin and yang, etc. So we are designed to heal. However, we are living lifestyles that not only makes it more difficult to heal, since we are depending on outer authorities, we are also not aligned with who we are on a soul level. So I also work, with aligning body, mind, and soul, and you can do it different ways. So I work with yoga therapy and this happy hormones, happy life as one modality, but I can also do like karma clearings to clear your karma and to work on that angle. So everything needs to be holistic as we are entangled. I cannot only work, I used to work as a physiotherapist, right? And then people came to me, they had pain in their knee or in the back, or they had migraine, etc. And then you treated that exactly like doctors. So like doing ultrasound perhaps on the knee. But now when I'm working more holistically as a yoga therapist, I know, okay, so here comes a person with pain in the knee or a migraine or imbalanced hormones, whatever. So then I need to look, what is the root cause here and how can I ignite? I provide the tools for this individual to ignite the self-healing, because we can never heal another person, right? It's not our responsibility to heal others. We can provide the tools, we can be, the support, we can be the cheerleader, we can be the hand to hold on to, but at the end of the day, our healing journey and our inner happiness is an inside job.
Absolutely. And isn't it sad that we've become an instant gratification era of people at the moment, and people aren't actually hearing this message and are too happy to be reliant on the old systems of being seen as disempowered and a patient rather than an empowered person that is capable of healing themselves.
Exactly. And to be honest, my perspective is also that it's designed this way here in Matrix, like the third dimension where we live in. So it's designed this way because then we become dependent. And when we become dependent, then we're good consumers. We consume pills, tablets, medications. We consume, we can anything that we can use, we can also abuse, right? Work, sex, alcohol, food, etc., etc. So we have given the power away, but it's time for us to reclaim the power and to provide us with the tools and the knowledge so we can ignite with our own inner wisdom, and then we will be healing ourselves multidimensionally.
Do you think that for women, like you say, we go through such a lot in terms of hormones, probably like you say, a lot more than men with our menstrual cycle, etc., leading, like you said, right up to pre-menopause, menopause and post-menopause. And so do you feel that predominantly for women, if they are suffering any symptoms which are negative symptoms, like you said, you were in a deep depression so bad that you felt suicidal and feeling really stressed and overwhelmed, do you think that it's always down to something related to hormones?
Good question. Again, I have also been studying applied quantum physics, and they're talking about entanglement. And in the yogic perspective, they're talking about connection. So it means the same thing. Everything is connected to everything, right? But I would phrase it like this. In this modern day where we live in our Western society, particularly, most of us, we are so stressed unconsciously. So we are not even aware that we are stressed. We believe that this is like the normal, or this is what life should be like. So first of all, we are only using 5% of our consciousness. And this means that we have 95% of unconscious programs that is running the show, right? And we are bombarded with information today. We have our cell phones, we have our computers, and for one day today, we have the same amount of information that we 10 years ago had in 8 weeks. I'm going to say that again. One day today equals 8 weeks of information 10 years ago. And this means that all our inner organs are working full time just to navigate all these inputs and information that we are dealing with every day. So this means that our nervous system and our hormonal system are under a lot of pressure all the time, and we're not even aware, right? It's only when the symptoms, when we're not feeling at ease, and this not being at ease might even develop a dis-ease, right? It's only then that many people really, perhaps go to the doctor or are looking for alternative help. Because many people are also in their everyday life are sort of struggling with different things, like myself, sleeping disorders, or people can have pain, people can be numb, distracted, sort of depleted, dissatisfied, etc., etc. So many, I mean, there are various grades in hell, right? So I truly believe that most Western diseases, not being at ease, is connected one way or the other to the hormonal system and the nervous system, which is always activated in the sympathetic nervous system. So I always work together with activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which release, calms, soothes, and where you have time to regenerate new cells together with the hormonal system, because you cannot also separate and working only with one as they. So I truly believe that everything that we see in the Western world is due to a lot of stress in our bodies that is stored. And also the food we eat, there's so many, toxics, there's so many things that are not good for our bodies. We have geoengineering, chemtrails, there's so many things out in nature that we humans are, how do you say, exposed to.
Yeah,
So
even healthy foods, such as fruits, for example, and salads and vegetables, some of those are genetically modified, and you don't know really how pure and
exactly.
organic they are, do you?
Exactly. So all of this adds up the inner stress on our bodies, our body, mind, soul, our energetic systems. So yes, I would say so.
So it becomes a minefield to know what to eat unless you're growing it yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what do you feel has been the most common issue for people that you mainly deal with in terms of an imbalance of hormones? What's the most common thing that comes up, do you think?
Sleeping disorders, one way or another, is a big thing. Being stressed with a sense that you're never enough, you're not good enough, you don't have time enough, you could always do more or better. If you're in menopause, also add like hot flushes, sudden outbreaks, emotional, that you're like a roller coaster, weight gain.
And what specific hormones are out of balance when we're suffering those sorts of symptoms, Ulrika?
It's a good question. I don't work with like a single hormone, because even, I mean, the hormonal system is a jungle. Not even endocrinologists, logists that works with hormones, like doctors that works with hormones, have, fully sorted out how they work. So that's why I work with the OAT axis to reduce symptoms and to increase the inner communication. And there's so many hormones in our systems. We have hormones, when we are going to sleep, when we feel relaxed, when we want to make love, when we are hungry, when we are pushed into fight or fright, etc., etc. So there's so many things that is going on, and I don't work with like a specific hormone. The aim is to reduce stress hormones, which like cortisol, adrenaline, etc., etc., and to increase the body's own healing abilities and the inner communication between all these glands.
Interesting, so interesting. So for most of your clients then, in terms of addressing hormone imbalances, how do you do that process?
I have group classes that are open that people can join, and I also have individual like yoga therapy consultations where people come to me and they get tailor-made yoga or breathing exercises for them to balance their own hormones. So there's so many ways to work, and some people that are coming to me, they're stressed, but they want to do a karma clearing first. So we do a karma clearing, and then they find out that they also need something to sort of embody their new wisdom and their new tools. So then we also work with hormones. So I always work, holistically, regardless of the person in front of me. And sometimes people are coming for, perhaps they have they eat medications for the thyroid, so to speak. But then we end up working with the adrenals, right? So people might come to me for one reason, but then when we sort of talk and, they say, and then so we end up doing, because you cannot have symptoms in the thyroid only. It comes from the other glands as well, as they're entangled and their inner communication might be disrupted.
You talked about karmic clearing, and I know what that means, but for the benefit of the audience, can you give a layman's term for that, what that actually means?
Thank you. Yes, so we can think of so there's a thing called the Akashic records. It's like an energetic library or database. So we can call it like the Google for the soul. And this means that everything that you have experienced in this lifetime, everything that you have experienced in all previous lifetimes, as we know, energy never dies. It just takes different shapes and forms, right? So we know that there's so much energy within you, these 95% of the unconscious programs, right? So, and in the Akashic records, there are also information of your future, right? So when you clear out the past, you also change your future, right? So when I do a karma clearing, then I get all this information. So I download the information from the Akashic library, which is this energetic database, which is inside of us, around us, etc., etc. But I get a lot of information about you, Lyn, and then I come back and say, hey, Lyn, I see that you 17 lifetimes ago, you made a choice that were not aligned with who you are on a soul level. And you're still suffering from these unconscious programs in your life, such as this and that. And then I give you the tools for you to activate your own karma clearing. And it's a life-changing, transformational session. So yeah, it's really powerful.
Excellent. So on that note then, what is the best way our audience members can get in touch with you, Ulrika?
So I have a website. It's www.ulliskarlsson.com. So here you can see that my name is Ulrika. Ulrika is a Swedish name. It means the magnificent.
Wow,
And
I didn't know that.
like no, Ull is like my nickname, and on my website is a nickname for Ulrika. But I have reclaimed my energy and I have reclaimed my name, meaning the magnificent. So this is also part of my work, that I want you to be magnificent in your energy, in your body, mind, and soul.
Love that. And I love that your name means that. How lovely to have a name that means the magnificent. So any final words of wisdom, Ulrika, to leave our audience with around happy hormones and happy life?
Yes. So if you find yourself also, in a dark space, you are depressed, etc., one could also consider depressed as a deep rest for body, mind, and soul. So it's like a reset, which is a good thing, because then you can do things differently, more accordingly to who you are on the soul level. So it's like a starting over. So it's a good thing. And if you feel that it's heavy, if you don't have the tools, if you want to have somebody to hold your hand that has been on the path before you, feel free to connect. I am here to guide you back to yourself.
Excellent. I love this topic. I know that it's a huge, wide topic, so we'll no doubt have you on again to discuss in more depth and more detail. But thank you, Ulrika. That's been a fascinating topic, and thank you for sharing your personal insights.
And thank you so much, Lyn, for having me. And I also usually say that to you, listener, if there's only like one thing that I'm saying today, then it's like a ripple effect from when I was burnt out and suicidal, when I was listening to Oprah Winfrey. And there was somebody saying something that resonated with me, so I didn't commit suicide. So if there's only like one sentence or one word that I say here today that is resonating with you, then it's me paying this forward.
Wow, that's powerful, because we don't actually know, do we, usually, who we're likely to impact. And we probably never know sometimes what legacy we leave behind. But it's interesting, isn't it, that something that was said on a worldwide TV show impacted your life fantastically, and probably the people on that program, and Oprah included, wouldn't have an idea that they've positively impacted you in that way.
Exactly. And that's what I love to be on podcasts, because you never know who's listening, right? And if you are listening, then the universe has conspired for you to be listening to this today, as it's something you probably need to hear, and to know that there's hope and there's a way through.
Absolutely. Nobody is on their own on this journey, and we're always right where we're meant to be, even if at the moment that is a challenging place. Just understand that challenging place is just temporary until you're led somewhere where you can gain some insight to change things.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right, Ulrika. Well, thank you once again. It's been a very, very interesting and insightful conversation.
Yes, and I'm happy to be here, happy to speak about happy hormones, happy life, and happy to have connected with you, Lyn.
So on that note, listeners, it just leaves me to say that true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group Two Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.